name is Ellie McDougall and I am from the Indiana Sports Corporation. As you can see from the video, our vision is to inspire and advance Indiana communities through sports. We are a non-for-profit organization founded in 1979 as the nation's first sports commission. Our events are broadcasted around the world, bringing national and international attention to the area. Our mission is to create a positive impact by hosting world-class events which drive economic vitality, facilitate a vibrant community with civic pride, garner national and international media attention, and create opportunities for our youth. So I've gathered this panel here today because I'm beginning an outline of a 5-year plan. Before we can go any further, I need a list of all the ways that the federal, state, county, and local governments are involved in sports within the city, especially in terms of funding. The #1 goal is to expand funding to create more opportunities for our youth within the city and foster more economic growth. So I'm going to open it up to the panel and ask if they have any thoughts or further recommendations.
Hello, so one of the ways that government is involved in sports is that they try and safeguard certain things for the public's safety. So an example of this would be in the city of Los Angeles. They passed 2 laws that mandate people from skateboarding or riding bicycles on the sidewalk so that the pedestrians are able to walk there safely. And then another law that was placed in LA was about playing sports in the street such as basketball or hockey or anything along those lines, or even soccer. So that way the kids or the adults even that are playing these sports, they don't have any chance of getting hit by cars or being a danger to the people who are driving on that street with maybe getting their windshield cracked by a soccer ball or a deck hockey ball or anything along those lines.
Governments often become involved in sports to help promote health and fitness for their citizens. Nations that provide universal health care tend to sponsor sporting activities to help improve health and lower medical costs. Not all nations provide state-funded health care, however. Nations like this tend to shy away from the idea because there seems to be a lack of incentive to do so. This instance happens in the United States due to the fact that public schools are beginning to cut more sporting teams and physical educations because of a lack of funds.
Tying into our mission at the Indiana Sports Corp, another way government is involved in sport is by promoting a sense of identity, belonging, and unity among its citizens. When people identify strongly with sport, government officials often use public money to support athletes and teams to represent a city or a nation. The emotional unity that can be used to establish or reaffirm an identity that further connects people with a city or nation. For instance, when the Brazilian men's soccer team plays in the World Cup, the people of Brazil experience a spike in emotional unity. However, when government involvement is intended to promote unity, it can benefit certain groups more than others. For instance, when men's sports are sponsored and women's are ignored, the unity among men may be strong, but the woman might feel alienated.
So the last way that we're going to touch on about how government gets involved with sports in a community is that they help facilitate economic and social development within a community. So a city will spend millions and millions of dollars of their taxpayers' money in order to place a bid for Olympic Games, the World Cup, Super Bowls, national championships, etc., etc. An example of this would be in the NFL. Owners are likely to use their taxpayers' money in the city to help build or renovate the current stadium, because in their argument is that it's going to bring in even more economic growth for that city with a brand new stadium. So some ways a government can help support their sports in the city through funding is state and city funds. Local rec centers and facilities are partially funded through city parks and rec departments or leisure and community service. These funds may be partially allocated from the LWCF, which is the Leisure and Community Service. Cities and towns may also use a portion of the taxpayer dollars to spend on the local rec activities, just like the NFL uses the taxpayer money for their stadiums. In both cases, funds can be used to build facilities, parks, courts, fields, etc. Additionally, money can be allocated by the local rec departments for facility and utility costs associated with running the sport. And lastly, the state funds also may be allocated for miscellaneous administrative costs, such as having the coaches and athletic trainers take a background check.
Second option through funding is through grants and available subsidies. With this, other sources of fundings are going to be highly variable by organizations in sport. In some instances, national grants, state grants, and private company grants such as Liberty Mutual and Daniels Fund may be available for community sport programs who need additional funding. Professional sports entities also have youth sport grants for equipment, coach certificates, new refurbed fields, etc. Examples include the U.S. Soccer Foundation, Baseball Tomorrow Fund, NFL Foundation, and the USTA. One of the most significant contributions was made by the 1984 Olympic Games, which generated $234 million in surplus, promotion of which was directed to fund the LA84 Foundation. LA84 has used the endowment to subsidize youth sport programs for underdeserved children in Los Angeles for more than a quarter of a century.
Thank you, members of the panel, for coming out and educating us more about government funding and government involvement in sports. We'll use your techniques and recommendations and hopefully fundraise some money to give back to the underprivileged youth and create some more opportunities for youth in sports. Thank you very much. Again, I'm Ellie McDougall and we're the Indiana Sports Corp.